well, that's the shop in its glory and in its most current state. All right, here we go. If you ever wanted to see what the bottom of a Bridgeport column looks like, there it is. We wheeled this up from there using pipes, the old Egyptian way, and we brought it back here. What we did is we tied off a blanket just to, you know, protect the paint as best as we could. We have this thing wrapped around and we're going to pull it up with the winch. Brent's working the controls now. And maintain this over here. I got to keep my eyes on my DRO scale. Brent, I'll let you handle all this while I be the camera guy. Comedy. Comedy element. If you want to move a Bridgeport, this is how you do it. Honestly. This is, man, this makes child's play, like I said, out of this. This is easy as can be. All right, up and away. Go ahead, Brent. We got the cable protector on the thing so it doesn't get messed up. I am standing, notice, I am not in the way of this if it comes down.
Oh, it caught the edge of my, I think it'll be okay.
Oh man, nail biter, nail biter. Brent, is that thing straining?
No, I'm just throttling it.
Okay.
It's not straining at all. It looks like it wants to roll.
All right, I could come over and I could guide it quickly. Let me get off to the side here.
You have some plywood you want to put here as it comes off of the edge?
All right, so here we're taking 2 seconds to evaluate. Here's our head. Honestly, I think it's just going to come and it's just going to lay right down.
All right, keep an eye on it. That's one.
Oh, all right, it found it settled. Go ahead. Go ahead. Up and away, Brent.
Okay,
it's gonna slap on your. You know what you could do? Can you raise the bed now?
Yeah, I don't know how much weight we got on there, but I can try here.
And now pull it, yeah.
Hey, look at that. I'm hitting your door a little bit. That's all right.
The main event is all done. This is the reason why you shouldn't bother to do body work on a Bridgeport when you're restoring it, because it's just inevitably going to get the crap beaten out of it. We've unearthed the mummy. So now what Brent's going to do is he's going to move the truck, he's going to position it right in front of the door, and we're going to slide it back, tilt it back, and put it right back onto those pieces of pipe. So this was a success. Let's go get the pipe, and notice 2x12s or 2x10. And here's the mill, and as you saw before, this was kind of challenging to get up, but the winch made it really easy. And then the next day, my son and I came in with the crane and we assembled all the parts. I brought the DRO back up. I brought the ram upstairs, the the table, the VFD, and all the electrical components. One of the things that I'm really happy about, as I found a lot in this shop, was a lot of things got fixed and corrected. For instance, the ram. When I first did the ram, when I first put this mill back together a couple years ago, the ram wouldn't slide back and forth. The binders in it were bound. You know, there was some kind of binding in it, and it really was impossible to move back and forth. But now, you know, we took our time. I made sure there was no binding or nothing. It was all cleaned and re-oiled. The ram just slides back and forth. I have full functionality again. I'm really excited. Little things, the little tiny things. So down here we have a relief mat. We got one of these on eBay. I think it was like 45 bucks delivered. So there's the mill. Another issue that I faced in the old shop was I had a rollaway, a Craftsman rollaway, which was about this wide, and I had the top unit and the bottom unit, and it was great. You know, I had a lot of space to put all my tools, but in here I needed a little bit more space, obviously. And I went to a friend's house, and I saw this Harbor Freight tool chest, and I gotta say that the quality of this thing is really good. So for $379 you could get this bottom chest here. It has the full length drawer across the top. Every drawer is lined with rubber, and it's just twice as durable as the Craftsman. I think the Craftsman also was made in China. I believe this might be made in China, but again, I can't speak highly enough. This is definitely by far one of Harbor Freight's best little kept secrets, one of their gems. If you have $380 and you need to get yourself a tool chest, I highly recommend it. The thing is fantastic. It's very beefy. It's you know, the quality is really good. You got this full drawer, all ball bearing. You know, I got space for all my tools. I did a little bit of consolidation, and believe me when I tell you, I consolidated a full rollaway into a bottom rollaway. You know, we got different drawers for different things here, wrenches, but without getting into a box tour. Again, I highly recommend it. And moving on to our welder, we have our welder in place there. It's a Millermatic 210 MIG welder. The venerable shop vac that just rolls around. One of the other things I wanted to thank Jim Bollinger for was his info on this Viking helmet. This is a auto darkening helmet from Lincoln. So Jim walked me through like what you should get, what you shouldn't get, the value and everything. And I picked this one up on eBay. It was used, well, I don't know, for maybe, I think about $150 or so. But it's a really nice helmet, and I look forward to starting to use it. So over here on the lathe side, we have our secondary rollaway, which has all my machinist tools, measuring stuff, indicators, parallels, that sort of thing. And over here we got the lathe. It's freshly oiled. It's been leveled. The DRO now we have put on. We got the anti-fatigue mat, and it's ready to go. I'm looking very forward to jumping on it and getting used to it now. It's been about, I don't know, six months or so, somewhere's around there, that it's just been sitting dormant, waiting for the shop to get done. And it's she stood by here silently, not complaining. So we're going to be using her really soon. Next up, we got our computer desk that I got on Craigslist former computer assembly workstation desk bench thing. 6 foot wide, 3 foot deep, LED lighting across the top. We got a power supply. There's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 power outlets. You could use the shelf across the top, and it's got a little tiny bit, you could see a little shelf underneath that I just temporarily have some stuff until I find homes for it. But this is great. This was, you know, it earned its keep already when I was putting my DRO on the lathe. Just a lot of space to put things, and, you know, just a great work table. Now for the main wall of the shop, we have a shelf and the Radio Shack, the infamous Radio Shack metal ball bearing cabinets. This shelf is about 4 feet wide by about 2.5 feet deep. It's just 2x4s. I used the dado blade to kind of, like, you know, make it all fit together like a puzzle. Screwed it all in together, and then got 1/4 inch Luan just to put on the sides and the back. First off, for strength, and number 2, just so things wouldn't fall behind it or to the side or whatever, and it buttoned it up and made it really strong. The Radio Shack cabinets, obviously, they were scattered about downstairs in the basement. 2 were on one side, 2 were on the other. Now they're all joined together, they're bolted together, so it's one solid cabinet unit. With the pin gauges are on top. I got the radio and my battery gun, that screw gun right there with the charger. I've been using that every day for something or other in the shop. But this shelf, what I really like about this shelf is I was able to have a place to put my drill cabinet, all the heavy stuff, the rotary table, the tool post grinder, indexing head, all that kind of heavy stuff will go down below where it's, you don't use this stuff every day, at least I don't. And then this shelf over here is just, you know, miscellaneous things that I use every day. I got my Spindexer in there, the milling machine, the whole clamp down kit, etc., etc. And on the top, chemicals, you know, screws, fasteners and stuff. Now all of this is all going to change. Everybody knows that. You know, your shop is constantly evolving, it's constantly changing, you're finding more efficient ways to do things. So again, this is all kind of just baseline, you know. I'm just getting started here with where things are going to go. But you know, for the past week or two, you know, the workflow has been really good. Being able to just walk around the center where the lathe is and the bench, which we'll get to in a second. This kind of center area where the machines are, and then I have my my shelves and workspaces along the walls, except for the mill. Obviously, that's in the corner. But that was a little hint taken from Rob Renz. He was telling me that in his shop, you know, everything is kind of center loaded, and all his workbenches and storage and stuff like that is all around the perimeter. So thank you, Rob, for that little tip. And moving on over to this side, we've got the new the new South Bend 10K that I picked up. And this is the shaper stand, where the shaper will live soon as we get back onto that. One note that I did want to say, I'm going to be talking about that. I have a shop update coming up, which I'll go into a lot of detail about that. But this is going to be a full restoration video. The shaper's going to get back going, as well as the pedestal grinder hiding back there. So those 3 are coming up very soon. Over here we have our Granite Plate, optivisors, and metrology equipment on top. I have this over here because it just seemed to fit nice in this corner here. And the fan here, if you're wondering why I have a fan kind of pointing up at the ceiling, is because the heater over here to this side, when the heater goes on, the heat gets trapped between this shelf and this door, and it kind of just sits in a little cocoon here. So the fan mixes it up and distributes the air around. I have to put a ceiling fan in. That'll be next. And last but not least, we have this what I call the dirty section of the shop. This is our grinding, you know, whatever, rough work, fabrication. So starting over there, the South Bend drill press, the shop press, the surface grinder, which has been leveled now. And believe it or not, the motion of the surface grinder does not hit the door or the wall. Maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches on either side, so I'm happy about that. And really, you know, why I chose for the surface grinder to be catty corner was so I can, in addition to setting up some kind of dust control, is to open the door, you know, and just kind of let it vent out, maybe have a fan or something like that. But, you know, I got to make do with what I have here, a limited space, and, you know, and that's that. So here's the South Bend pedestal grinder where it's going to live. Kind of looks neat with all the electric in place now, like it's designated area. So, but before I go on, you could see the VFD for the surface grinder. I need a piece of liquid conduit, and I just got to kind of wrap all that up and mount the VFD somewhere, either on the pedestal or somewhere out of the way. But I'm also wiring up the drum switch, so I could just turn the drum switch on. It sends the start and stop commands to the VFD. In the past, I used to just press the VFD to turn it on and off, and it was hanging haphazardly, and progress. Down here you can see the carbide grinder. This needs a little bit of work. I gotta kind of fix it up. This is one of those Harbor Freight grinders, import grinders. I seen Keith Fenner work on one, and this other guy, Ghosties, he did a whole complete you know, balancing of everything, and he really turned his grinder into, I think he was balancing a quarter on it. That's what my plans are, to do that. And I found it on Craigslist for, I don't know, 150 bucks or something. I might have talked about it in another video, but it was a good deal. So I always wanted a carbide grinder, so that was good to get me into it. And then there is our our lonely buffer just sitting down there. So these two guys need a pedestal. They need pedestals to sit up on. This buffer, I plan to build like a wooden enclosure for it that I'm going to hook dust collection to and everything. A friend of mine, Tim, has the same kind of setup, and I got the idea from him, so I'm going to do something like that. One note about my friend Tim: he's going to be joining me on a couple of these restorations in terms of the body work, the painting and whatnot, but more on that when I do my next shop update. So again, one of the plans, also a future plan that I have here, is I want to put some kind of covering on the back wall, whether it's like you know, sheets of stainless steel or something, or some kind of plastic. Kind of shying away from the plastic because, you know, hot sparks, hot shrapnel will go in there and kind of burn in. I kind of like the idea of metal because it's just easy to wipe down and whatever. But, you know, that's the plan. And then the last thing that I wanted to do was, you know, talking with Tom Lipton over the summer, he made a suggestion of getting like a curtain, you know, and you put it up along the wall here. Okay, and it will just kind of, you know, it's a sliding curtain like a shower curtain, and, you know, maybe come out to about here or so, and then you could just shut the curtain when you're doing your grinding, and then just, you know, obviously open it all back up. So those are going to be two things that I'm going to do in the future. Oh, I almost forgot. There's 3 things I'm going to do in the future. As you can see, the way the lights go, the way the piping, the EMT goes into this light, you know, fortunately, this side over here is open. So I'm going to pipe out another one and put one light here and one light here across the top, because it's a little bit dark in this section, and that was the original plan, honestly, was to have 2 lights over here in the grinding section. So that's yet another thing that I'm going to be doing here. And as you can see back there, hiding behind the drill press is some burning tanks and a hand truck stacked nicely tight together and out of the way. And last but not least is the bench. So this is fitting nice and snug against the back of the lathe. The chip tray back there, the splash guard, I mean, it acts like a little bit of a magnet backboard. Got the ultrasonic cleaner going there for restoration work. and assorted junk sitting on the bottom shelf there, which I'm thinking about putting a small thin shelf this way to have, you know, stuff that's like stock that's 2 feet or less to kind of just slide in there, you know, as kind of stock storage. But, you know, like I said, the bench. Everybody needs one. Everybody has one. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for joining me over the past, I don't know, 7 months, 6, 7 months on this long and cumbersome journey. It was, you know, it was a lot of fun, and the beauty of it is, you know, you could see through the dirt, the junk, the clutter, and you could, you know, if you could picture it, you could do it. So, you know, here we are, excited to get Maple Lane started and going in earnest here. So again, thanks a lot for watching, and enjoy this little shop before and after pictorial. Thanks, guys.